It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
This is the Cosmick Voice. Cosmick Voice. Music, talk, and nothing but business with your hosts, Chris Natalini and Mick Michaels. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cosmick Voice. This is Season 7, Episode 20. This is our 200th episode. I am here with my co-host, Chris Natalini.
200!
And I am Mick Michaels. Welcome back, everyone, to 200.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
200.
That's our saying. It's crazy, man.
It is. Oh,
it's
is
crazy.
That's true, yeah.
But 200 episodes. Now, just to put that into context, it's the entire channel. So everything that we've done, everything that we've released in the past 5 years, 7 seasons, which also includes not only this podcast, but Muck and Junk and Cosmo and Wait a Cosmic Minute and Cosmic Talk. All that and then some, baby.
Stuff.
All that and then some. Can I have that supersized, please? That's right. It's a supersized episode. 200,
right.
baby.
That's
200.
Right. That's right.
I mean, who would have thought? Never expected it to go this long. Thought it was just going to be a passing by type of thing. Like, hey, filling in the blanks till we get back on our feet. And here we are, 200 later. Award-winning.
Right. That's right. Award-winning. We have comics. I mean, look. Come on, man. Joe Rogan would be
oh,
jealous.
Yeah, he's so jealous every time he cashes that check. He is so jealous. He goes, boy, I wish I had a comic book. Oh, look at that. I'm depositing another $200,000. Sorry, Joe.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like, when we talked about this during COVID, doing it, we just say, I mean, I never really gave it a time limit, like, in my head. I guess if I sat and thought about it, but, like, I was like, cool, like, we'll do it, and we'll see, where it goes and how this happens, and this show has evolved, and I never thought we'd be here 7 years later, 200 show, and here we are. Just like anything, it just goes so fast,
It does. I know we talked about it before, but at times it still seems new.
Oh, yeah.
We're experiencing new things and talking about a lot of the same but different because the times have changed.
Yeah.
We talked about from the very beginning, the success is determined how you determine it. It's how you feel about it and what's important to you. And we set out to do a podcast based on a certain topic, a certain theme. And like you mentioned, it wound up expanding into different things because we were having fun with it. And here we are. We're still doing it. And for whatever that is, even if it stopped today, I think we did what we set out to do. And
100%.
I mean,
100%.
Listen, the show's in syndication. Each week,
Which is all.
Like a best-of episode is played on Wild Dogs Radio. Now, how long that will be, I don't know. Until we run out of episodes, I guess, and maybe they'll start all over again. I don't know. The show, in its first year or two, was on, I think we were up to 5 different radio stations.
Yeah, at one time. Yeah, I think it was.
They were not syndicated, but they were like a quick rerun. Like if we released a show, then that show would release 2 weeks later, and it would include some other music and stuff like that. It was part of a bigger package. Been involved in several different things to air the show, besides just the core of the CosmickVoice.com and the platforms that we've set up. I'll be honest with you, I can't even tell you how many platforms we're actually on at this point.
I know, and that's amazing. When you and I talked about it when, the syndication kind of first came up a number of years ago, it was like, what, other than promoting, we don't have to do anything extra. We don't have to record new shows. Like, we don't have to do separate shows. They just replay, what we've already aired. And I got like, why not? It's not really costing us anything. So, I mean, why not? Why not just put it out there and other avenues, and hopefully people will come in, or even if they just stay current time, we're on Wild Dog. So even if people just tune in a Wild Dog and not necessarily listen to our stream that we put out every week, like, that's okay. People are listening to it, and to me, that's all that matters. how they listen to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
As long as they listen.
Like, if you just followed one platform of this show, the numbers are probably not that great. It's the compounding of all these different platforms. You know, like your nickel and diamond it here, nickel and diamond it here. You know, we have the YouTube. We're on Rumble. You know, we do the Facebook videos. There's the Spotify and Apple and Google. And, I mean, there's tons of other stuff. You got into these packages that it also gives you this, where I know we're on iHeartRadio. So wherever you listen, thanks for listening. And those syndication type, I'm just using that as a term because it makes most sense in what we're talking about. We never sought out them. That wasn't even something I was thinking about. We were approached pretty early on, I think almost in season 1.
Yeah, I think so. Season 1 or season 2, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
It was early on.
That was part of people approaching us because they felt like we had something to offer, which is kind of cool. And like you said, I mean, even if they listen to us in syndication or in repeat or whatever, it's not like the information is so outdated. I mean, do we talk about some events of that particular time? Yeah, well, we try to stay somewhat current based on our experiences, but the information itself, the core of it, I think is basically timeless. So that's what's kind of cool about the whole theme, the premise of the show, being a working artist.
Absolutely. I mean, to be honest, like, not to compare us with syndication shows, but I mean, everything that is being replayed somewhere else it's always going to be sort of dated. I mean, you know, your TV shows, you know, you're looking at wardrobes and language, you know, topics, everything's kind of dated. But at least with us, I feel that because the music industry is changing almost every day, it would be really hard to stay on one topic because everything changes constantly. You know, every day you're sending me a new article that you've seen, you know, something new about the industry. So, you know, everything it's just constantly changing.
I mean, I don't do it to inundate you. I'm just,
no,
like,
I love it.
There's a level of shock in a sense, like, oh my God, this too? Trying to stay in the mix so that we're not completely ignorant, especially if that we're still in the industry too, because even though it's a lot of what we read is top level, there is a trickle down.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it with Spotify and the other streaming services not paying at all. You know what I mean? Right. And then, like what we talked about in the last episode, that, you know, they're trying to get this bill passed to get a living wage at least to be considered for musicians, which you know, brings our stream pay from 0.003 of a penny to a full penny. But, you know, pennies make dimes and dimes make dollars and dollars make you rich, y'all. So you put some of that John in your bank account and you're all right. Slip that in there real quick.
It's Russ the Boss.
Take it down.
Johnny D from Britney Fox.
This is Stephen Pearcy from Rat, the Rat Bastard. You're listening to the Cosmick Voice.
Now, I don't know if we picked the best time to start a podcast in terms of like how the industry is, because it's all over the place.
And it's gotten worse.
Since we started. Maybe we've done a disservice. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. But it's crazy. It changes so much, you know, at the time of recording this. So we don't have to get too deep in the woods about it. But, you know, the whole Limp Bizkit suing Universal Music. And then this thing with Spotify, which we're going to talk about on today's show anyway. You know, it's so hard to get any kind of number. You happen to bring up about, you know, us being on all kinds of services. And, you know, we can't really get, I don't know if we'd be able to get a positive number anyway, because it's so bizarre. You know, these streams don't count, but these streams do. And it's a whole thing, man, that I can't believe in 2025 that we haven't figured this out yet. But maybe it is figured out and they just don't want the general public to know. Maybe the hot shots that own these companies, they have the real numbers and they just don't want people to really know.
Creative accounting, they call it. I'm not sure if they have a degree in that, but there are plenty of people that are skilled at it. Creative accounting is a way the numbers, at least on paper, look good. It's a rob and Peter to pay Paul type of thing so that you can get into bed with Mary. For us, it's a compounding of numbers. If you just looked at one platform, you'd be like, you know. And I'll be the first to tell you, our numbers aren't, you know, something that you always want to write home about. But we do seem to have a small, dedicated listenership. And to me, that's pretty cool.
It is super cool, man.
You know,
it
especially
super cool
for how we do this podcast. We don't do it every day. It's not a couple times a week. We have short seasons, so to speak, because of our schedule. They're edited shows, so it's not just right off the cuff, because we want them to be presented as best as we can. And I'm okay with that. And the fact that each season people do come back to listen, that just says something about the type of material that we're putting out. So somebody finds it valuable, and to me, that's good enough. It's just the same as being an artist. It's one fan at a time. This is one listener at a time.
Absolutely, bro. And listen, we're in a time right now where podcasts are just extremely popular. Everybody's doing one. I just, at the time recording this, last weekend, I just spent a weekend at Monster Mania Con in Cherry Hill. I was helping some friends out. And because I was helping friends out, I talked to a lot of people. Everybody's got a podcast. Everybody's pushing podcasts and giving me their cards. And I'll listen to them. I'll give them a shot. Some are good. Some are meh. Some are bad. But you know what? Everybody's trying. And again, podcasts are so popular now, no matter what it is. I mean, people just have a podcast for anything and everything. Kind of look at it as, are people connecting? I guess that's a good thing. I like to sit and have conversations with people. So if this is one of those things where it gets people into a conversation and to talk, whether they agree with us or disagree with us, we're having a conversation. I think that's a really cool thing about having a podcast. I would rather have a podcast and a conversation this way than the toxic area of social media, where we're just all yelling and putting each other down.
Right.
We don't respect each other's opinions. So, but when you and I started, podcasts were kind of a thing, but not a thing. And now in 2025, everybody has a podcast. Everybody. Yeah. So much so that when they go, oh, this new celebrity has a podcast, I go, to talk about what? How many podcasts? Yeah. What?
Podcasts, they've been around for a number of years. A long time. But like you said, the popularity following COVID has gone out the roof, where everybody's taken up the mic for it, which then in turn created a whole second revenue stream of an industry. So you have hosting, and you have software and equipment and these different kinds of branding things, and then you have different ways of getting your podcast out there, and of course distribution and things like that. I think that the podcast is so popular in a sense that it's easier than doing video editing, one. Two, you have complete control over content. So you could do anything, say anything you want. You don't have anybody breathing down your neck. And it's very little censorship. Yes, on Spotify and stuff like that, you have to mark when you're uploading it, does this contain explicit content, or is there advertising within it and all that kind of stuff. But you can still publish it. They just put a warning for people that are under a certain age. Right?
Yeah.
Or they make it restrictive, or you have to agree that I am 21 years or older. Like a 13-year-old is going to say different anyway if they want to, you know what I mean? Because there's no checks and balances that way. But everybody's covering their own butt. There's such a freedom to it.
Yeah.
I've, over the years, listened, and I know you have too, because you had an internet radio show for years. There's good, bad, and terrible shows.
Absolutely.
I, as an artist, I've been on those shows, interviewed great ones that are, okay, and then ones that were so bad, like, is anybody listening, or is this just for you?
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
But you do them. You do it. You do the best that you can. And I think that's what's happening with podcasts, too. And like you said, everything and anything has a podcast. Like, if you like eggs, your whole podcast is about eggs. Horror has become such a big thing now. There's tons of stuff. Comics, with the rise of Marvel and DC in the theaters like the past 20 years. People talk about that. There's podcasts dedicated just talking about Kiss. At one time, we could probably just be a dedicated Kiss podcast.
Yeah, we could have been,
Kiss and Christmas. Kissmas. Maybe that's our next podcast show,
Maybe that's
right?
the next one, yeah.
Cosmic Kissmas. The truth is, there's an audience out there for everything and anything.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. And there's so many of these new watch-alongs, when these celebrities are coming out and they're doing their older shows, right? Like I just heard, I think it's been on for a while, but I didn't know about it. Like Ted Danson and Woody Harrelson are doing a Cheers one now where they interview other people that were on the show, and I guess they watch the episodes. And
Okay.
The Pod Meets World, the Boy Meets World.
Maybe we do that. Maybe we go back to season 1. We start listening to ourselves, and then we comment on it.
I would really rather not. The comment would be, how is anybody listening to this?
What was I thinking?
What was I thinking? Everybody has something, and everybody has a podcast. And, I'm just hoping that Spotify picks us up and gives us $30 million a year. Gets us a studio in New York. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I get out of my basement. That'd be great.
Yeah, right. Get out of my attic.
Anyway, so probably by the time this airs, we'll be a little passé on the information. But, Kiss has been in the news. Gene Simmons canceled, 16, 17 of his band's shows.
Well, I read this morning it was postponed.
Okay, well, the other day it was canceled with possibility of low ticket sales.
Do you believe that, Mick?
Some of what I read is that, one, he's charging the same price as a Kiss show, which I think is crazy.
Okay, that is.
As of this morning, at the taping of the show, he was saying that he's going to be refunding that $12,000 roadie package to a number of people. And then yesterday, Kiss announced their first set of shows in Vegas, but unmasked. And they're going to be having Bruce Kulick featured as well at the show. So they're supposed to be celebrating 50 years or something like that.
Something like that, yes. So, okay, I read the Vegas show. I thought it was one show. Is it a set of shows?
I read somewhere that it was possibly 3 shows.
Okay.
Everybody could just be sensationalizing everything now just to get readers. So, I don't know. But listen, we talked about it. Vegas was going to be where they go. I'm surprised that they're doing it out of makeup, but I think that maybe, and here's my thinking, they can't do it in makeup unless they pay the people that now own the license.
Oh, good point, bro.
So they can perform probably as Kiss, but now you're looking at 80s Kiss coming back. So here comes the pink and all those bright colors from the Asylum tour.
Well, wait, bro. I mean, listen, let's be honest. And I could be saying this because you and I had the pleasure of seeing the last couple dates in makeup. If I was going to go see Kiss again, if they say, hey, Kiss is coming back, and they're just not going to be in makeup, I go, it's a little more intriguing to me because I haven't seen them playing without makeup in many years. So I go, that might be kind of interesting. Like, do you think that would be more of a sell?
Well, sure.
Hey, listen,
sure
we're not you know what I mean? Like, if they're just going to stand up there and rock out and they don't have to do all the stage show and the jump, but like if it's a scaled down Kiss show, I go, well, I may go see that. Like if I was in Vegas and available, and I may kind of see that, like a low Kiss show. That'd be kind of cool.
I don't know if it's going to be a low Kiss show. I think it's just going to be a Kiss show without the makeup and the costumes, right? Because that part of the band is retired, and I think that that's what they're leaving towards this AI animation avatar, whatever they're calling it. But I also think there's a licensing issue at this point.
That's interesting too.
In my opinion, right?
Point. No, that's a great point. That's a great point.
And that pretty much cuts out anything having to do with Ace Frehley and Peter Criss because they weren't involved in that era at all. So the only person that you can bring back, well, I mean, you could bring back Vinnie Vincent, I guess, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
It would be Bruce Kulick.
Yeah.
Non-makeup era. And maybe even you have, in terms of the Revenge album, that was their kind of comeback in a sense.
Yeah.
And that was a big selling album for them. So it makes sense. You know, we talked about this before. One-off shows, I think, are going to be the thing that they do. They're still going to do their Kiss cruises. They're still going to play. Paul Stanley just recently was on the Richard Marx YouTube show. And
I know, and it was so good.
Yeah, it was great. He hinted around about Kiss possibly doing other things.
Yeah, he
right?
did.
Well, here you go. But he also talked about Soul Station doing stuff as well.
Yeah, he said that too. Yep.
Listen, maybe the break has helped his voice. Maybe not. I don't know. But now you're going to probably start getting some songs that they didn't do the last 30 years with the makeup. Yeah. So you're going to be getting stuff from the Asylum album and Hot in the Shade. I know they did a couple things here and there. They pieced meal some stuff. But you're going to be getting some of that stuff, which would be kind of neat. Because when was the last time they played that stuff?
Yeah. In your opinion, do you think the Gene Simmons canceling or postponing the solo tour was because this Kiss thing was coming?
It's a good possibility. I mean, if you look at it the way that things are happening, yes, you could sell it that way. People were complaining before it was released that he was canceling, postponing, whatever he was doing with these shows. I had read online in some forums that people were like, man, he's charging these high prices for the ticket. But I mean, here's the thing. He goes, oh, I'm making more money. Remember that? Like, I'm making more money than I did in Kiss. Well, okay, because you have a hired gun band.
Right.
Of course, you get the lion's share. But here's the thing, man. Here's the wake-up call. Gene Simmons alone doesn't pull in what Kiss did, just like Paul Stanley didn't, just like Ace Frehley doesn't, and so on and so forth.
Right.
It was a machine together. People forget that. They forget that. Their egos get so huge.
Oh.
He's been doing a bunch of interviews, too, especially this year. Like, he's been popping up everywhere. I mean, he was on Ben Shapiro interviewed him.
Yeah.
Ex-mafioso. Yeah, Billy Corgan, the Yuppie Don. I can't remember. Michael Franzienzi or whatever. He interviewed him. And first of all, it's like the same interview over and over again. And sometimes they're cringeworthy. It's like, oh, my God, here we go.
Well, you know what, man? Like, not to get sidetracked, but speaking about that, we were talking about podcasts. Like, I was talking to this about a friend of mine. I watched the Billy Corgan interview. And the thing I liked about Billy Corgan was the questions he would ask. It threw Gene Simmons off. And if you really watch and listen to that interview, he has the same stock answers for everything. And then Billy Corgan go, no, that's not what I'm asking. I want to know this. And it would throw Gene completely off because for years he's been spewing the same garbage. Yep. And he's like, oh, these are real questions? Like, and I felt the kind of same way about the Richard Marx Paul Stanley interview, although not as bad. But there were a few times where Richard Marx was like, no.
Yeah, that's not what I'm asking.
I'm talking about this.
Yeah.
And Paul goes, oh, this is a real interview. Like, they're just stuck in those stock answers.
Yeah. I watched, this was an older interview for sure, but when William Shatner was doing his show, he had Simmons on there, and he got him to take his glasses off. And I thought that was amazing. I'm a huge Shatner fan. I love him. He has this in his head. Like, this is what I want. This is what's happening. He has that type A personality, and it's almost like if you watch it, and Simmons has that type A personality as well.
Yeah.
But Shatner overshadowed it, and it was almost like he had to take a step back and saying, well, this is William Shatner, you know what I mean? Type of thing.
Right, bro,
and that was kind of cool because, like you said, you don't get the same routine. I even went back and I was watching a guy from Black Flag.
Henry Rollins.
Yeah, Henry Rollins interviewed him. And you could tell he was a huge fan, but Simmons was kind of dismissing him a lot. And that bothered me. That really bothered me. He has that tendency where
he does.
Paul's a little bit more tactic with that. I think it was a little bit of a wake-up call, man. Like, here's the thing. People want Kiss. I guess people will take them. I mean, people are going to go to the avatars. They'll take them in any way they can. I mean, they're still releasing stuff, the off-the-board stuff. Oh, it's a machine. Come on, stop it. It is. Stop it.
But, again, man, they retired from touring. They never retired from playing. And that's where people get mixed up at. Also, they were talking about, I did read online where people were like, they've been on this retirement tour for years. Well, people forget that COVID hit when they were in the middle of that tour, and it put them out for 2 years.
Right. I agree.
But yeah, they retired from touring, not from playing live.
Yeah. Listen, here's the thing. They said they weren't going to make any more albums. They haven't made an album since 2012. I mean, they pretty much stuck to their guns.
Yeah.
And they said the same thing. It's the end of the road tour. That means
the road tour,
Right. They're done touring. That's what they said. They're done touring. Do they need to tour? Absolutely not.
No, they put it in their time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Paul Stanley talked about, does he miss it? Yeah, but he's enjoying. Apparently, Simmons didn't want to stop. He kept going. He took it upon himself. He's touring. He's doing this thing. Paul Stanley wanted time for painting, hanging with his kids, whatever. I mean, the Kiss Sons have an album coming out.
Oh.
And that stuff is sounding fantastic. I mean, it's awesome.
Fantastic, bro.
They've been showing a lot of acoustic type stuff, kind of Simon and Garfunkel type of vocals, which is just amazing. Are they going to do rock? Are they going to...
Right.
Is it adult contemporary? What's the plan?
Yeah.
Both of them are way more talented than their fathers were. I mean, talent-wise...
Not a lie.
No, not a lie,
Not a lie.
So, it's going to be interesting to see, man. It's going to be interesting to see. I was thinking about that, like I'm an expert or anything, but maybe that was the plan all along, but they had to wait till Kiss died down.
Yeah, maybe.
Because this December 2025 will be 2 years?
Yeah.
Since Kiss called it quits. And it's off people's brains now. That excitement and all has died down. This is probably a good time for them so they're not overshadowed.
Right.
I seen Paul's son perform. I mean, he's a dynamite guitar player, good singer, a lot of young guy. He jumps around and all that kind of stuff. It's interesting. It is
going to be interesting. Yeah, I'm excited to see/hear more than what I've seen online.
To some level, because of name value, it's going to be successful.
Oh, of course. Of course.
There's going to be a lot of doors that are already opened. Yeah. Come on in, fellas.
Yeah.
It's not like the Natalini Michaels duo. Can somebody listen, please? Hello? Is anybody home? You know how that goes.
I do know how
Put
that
a post
goes.
out,
Exactly
hey,
right.
we're recording again, crickets. Good for you guys.
Yeah. It should be interesting, though, man. It should be interesting. And listen, that whole, was it $12,000, $16,000 roadie for a day? Like, that's just insane.
That's just insane stuff. That's just showing.
First of all, I need to know where he came up with the price. Like, it wasn't like flat. What was it, 12,000 or 16,000?
It was 12,000. I don't know,
600 and something. Like,
yeah,
who
some
came
change.
up with that price? Like,
I don't know. Taxes included.
And you don't even get a ticket for the show, Mick.
Oh my God, I don't know what you get, but some union has to be complaining about that. Something doesn't seem right.
It doesn't. It's something wasn't right about that.
Unless
he threw it out there and he was like, "Oh, let's see if anybody pays."
Well, there's apparently if he's doing refunds. By the time this airs, hopefully those refunds came back. Somebody's paid it. There's always somebody that will pay it. You know that. Like, you've talked about it.
How would you sell that to your wife?
I wouldn't. I'd have to. My wife would. Listen, I remember I was invited to a Paul Stanley showing of his art. So I went out. There was a couple of my sponsors there and stuff like that. I was invited in. And I got to look at the pictures and stuff like that. I mean, I got pretty close to Paul Stanley. Like, I got a picture of him staring at me, and I had this look like, and you could tell that he was probably looking at the security guy and go, we got to take care of this guy real quick, because I was in complete, like, starstruck, whatever. But I actually called my wife, and I go, hey, there's a small Ace Frehley painting. She goes, what? And I go, they told me, I started talking to the curator. I go, I could get a discount and all and stuff like that. And she goes, well, what are you talking about? She goes, it was like $2,300. I mean, there was dead silence. I go, I got the card, I got to put it on the Disney card. We'll get points. Well, dead silence. I said, well, I'm just looking at it. You know what I mean? So that was the end of it. But man, I was considering it. Yeah. So anyway, that's the way that goes.
It's awesome.
That's awesome.
The Ace Frehley painting wasn't painted by Paul.
It was painted by Paul. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah. So
that's cool.
Yeah. So it was kind of neat. And I figured, well, man, I spend that, I'll definitely get to meet him and all that kind of stuff. And then I was like, well, whatever. I actually took my daughter to it, so she enjoyed it, watching her father be an idiot.
Listen, I saw her father meet KK Downing. I can totally relate.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I couldn't even find a pen.
Oh, yeah, but those are the best moments.
I had another rock star who was playing that night get me a pen so I could get KK's autograph. That's how screwed up I was. There was some sympathy going on. Look at this poor moof.
It was fantastic.
It was an incredible night. And actually, as the recording of this episode, that was about a year ago.
It was
a year ago this weekend. Yeah.
Yep.
Incredible stuff. Incredible
Good
stuff.
times.
Yeah.
Good times.
You are listening to the Cosmick Voice with your hosts, Chris Natalini and Mick Michaels.
So let's get to the topic of this show.
Yeah.
The topic of the show is Spotify crucial to your career? Is Spotify crucial to have, to use? What do you think, bud? I mean, we have talked about this. We've talked about it on and off in several episodes this season, especially when the numbers came out. Let's even generalize it some more. Is online streaming platforms, are they crucial to have? Do bands, do artists really need them in the capacity that we've been bred and conditioned to believe that we need them? Because the more we feel that we need them, the more people will upload, the more that CEO makes. What do you think, bud?
You know, when we talked about doing this show, I've been thinking a lot about it. As a whole, obviously, it is important because there have been people during my career that have gone, hey, man, you in a band? I tell them the band name, and they go, are you guys on Spotify? I mean, that happens more than anything. And I would love to go, no, I'm not on Spotify, but I'm on Bandcamp, and they look at you cross-eyed because, you know, people just don't use Bandcamp as much as they use these streaming stores, I guess we'll call them, whatever, services, rather. Unfortunately, I do believe that streaming services outside of Bandcamp, so I'm not even going to put in Bandcamp because Bandcamp is more for the artists because you're able to not only sell your music, you're able to sell your merch, because Bandcamp is super important for bands, I believe, because you're getting a one-stop shop. So taking Bandcamp out of it, unless you want to include it, that's fine too. But for me, streaming services, your Spotify, your Apple, whatever. Unfortunately, it is important because people do say, hey, can I hear your stuff streaming? Because in 2025, you know, people buying physical media just isn't as... Now, the genre, I believe that you and I are in, Mick, is a little more different when it comes to people buying physical media because people do buy CDs and vinyl more in our genre than I'd say other genres. So we're lucky in that capacity because I still personally buy physical media. I am a subscriber to Spotify, unfortunately. First of all, one of the reasons is because I don't have, you know, they don't put CD players in cars anymore and everything's done through Bluetooth. And I do listen to a lot of podcasts and I am able to find newer bands, which is cool to me. You know, there isn't stores to go and flip through records anymore, or CDs, whatever. I mean, that's what we used to do on Friday nights. We used to go to the mall, and we used to flip through the vinyl, and we would find newer bands or newer records, whatever. Well, we don't have that option anymore. So streaming and finding smaller bands is the way to find music, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately because it is important to have, but unfortunately, there's something wrong with it. Like if I could buy a package that ups my numbers and they're fake, then what is the point of having? That's the part that I don't understand. Now, I understand in a fact of, for publicity purposes, oh, I have 4,000 followers and all these downloads, and I get that. But does it relate to ticket sales? Because I don't believe it does. So when someone tells me that, you know, they have all these followers, I go, well, do you though? Or did you buy into a package that ups your numbers? Because I don't know if you buy into a package and those numbers are real. Maybe half are real, maybe a third are real. I don't know because I don't buy that package because I would rather go, listen, I may only have 86 followers, but I know my 86 followers are real. And I know probably most of them would buy tickets. So, you know, these bands that buy these packages just to up their numbers, well, what good is it doing you? They're not relating to ticket sales, number one, because we already know how the live scene's doing. And number two, like, what is it getting you? What, to boast that you have all these followers, but they're all fake. So that doesn't make sense to me. So in that part of it, I unfortunately am not a fan of streaming. I don't like fake numbers. Back in the day when we were recording and we were trading tapes or whatever, like people were real true blue fans. Well, when you have all these followers, they're not even real people, then to me it's a fake. Like it just doesn't make sense to me. But as a business model, I get it and I understand the streaming service part of it. But again, it doesn't relate to sales. And that's the part of it that I just can't get through my head, why these artists do this kind of thing and buy into these packages. And then the CEOs or whomever, they're making the money and the bands aren't. I mean, that's just a point of contention that we're all dealing with at this time anyway. So to answer the question, do I believe streaming services are important? Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, they are. They are, because it's the only way that some people find music. But do those people, does it relate to anything? Does it turn into something? That is my question. How many people find bands on Spotify that turns into something being sold? That's what I need to know. And I mean, obviously, I'll never get that answer, because streaming services and music are at everybody's fingertips, which I like, because we've always said it from day one fan at a time. I totally stand by that. I will plant that flag in my hill, and I will die on that hill. I just don't know if these streaming services are physically doing anything for artists. Now, obviously, some are, obviously some are, because some of these artists are getting popular by a song or a stream or being used on TikTok, whatever the case may be. But it's one of those things where they're here today and gone later today. So to me, streaming services are a necessity to get your music heard, but is it really working? I guess that's my question. Is streaming services working in the way that they were built to work? I don't know that. That's the thing that I go, man, I wish I could just pull all myself off Spotify or all these streaming services, because it doesn't make sense to me. It's not giving me anything. There's no return on it. Mick, what do you think?
I think we've been conditioned that it's needed. And again, if you're creating an industry that generates money, then you have to condition the community, the public, that it is needed to buy into it. That's what TV commercials are. You're being conditioned that you need that Baconator, that you need that Shamrock Shake. And by God, I do.
I do too.
That's my problem.
That is my problem.
Your question is a fabulous question. Is it really doing anything for the artist? Does it get us heard? No. Not heard in the way you think.
It doesn't, right?
It gives us accessibility to be heard.
Yes.
So if I tell you, hey, I'm on Spotify, check me out, well, now you know.
Right.
But if you don't know me, you're not going to find me.
I mean,
could you? Yes. You really got to go down a rabbit hole.
You really, truly do.
Right? If you have really, no idea who I am. It's different that if you go, I'm just going to use my band's name for sake of example. If you go to Google and you put in Corners of Sanctuary, stuff comes up. A bunch of stuff comes up. That makes sense. Then you can find it. Then it makes sense. But if you don't know who I am and you're just trying to find something, the chances of me popping up is practically nothing. Practically nothing.
And I don't mean to interrupt you. I just want to get this thought out before I forget about it. There have been a few times that Corners of Sanctuary has come up on a metal playlist for me on like a New Metal Friday, which obviously we've bypassed that New Metal Friday because new songs are coming out all the time now. Nobody's sticking to just Fridays. So I'll like screenshot it and I'll go, hey man, like Corners of Sanctuary just came up in my playlist, blah, blah, blah. Cool, here's a new song. But you're only coming up in my playlist because I've listened to you before.
Right. It wasn't always like that. It wasn't always like that. If you actually did release something, they had something that said, here's the new releases.
Yeah.
Or here's the new releases in the genres that you like, or something like that. But that was before things went out the roof in terms of uploads, and now people buying into the campaigns. And listen, let's be honest. Buying these campaigns or buying these numbers is no different than what they did years ago. The Beatles managers, back when they were still in the UK, bought out their records from the record stores to force people to believe that these were, the management bought them. The band didn't know that.
Right.
That made more orders come in. It was getting people, I got to check out this band. I got to check out this band. The other thing is in those days, and you remember too, when we used to go to record stores, they would play the albums, the new albums, in the store.
Yep. They would have them on the wall.
They would have them on the wall. They'd play it on the overheads because it would force people to hear it.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore. If you go to an old vinyl shop or something, they play select albums or something, but it's not like, because they're not trying to sell the newest release from that artist. It's just a nostalgia type thing.
Right. And here's the thing too, like back then, you brought up the Beatles. We're also at a different time. We're also dealing with a million bands. Like you probably remember the percentage. What's the percentage of bands or new artists or new songs that come out every day on Spotify?
I think you're talking like every 10 days it hits 1 million or something like that. It's crazy.
Okay,
At one point, it was 60,000 new uploads. This is just Spotify now. A day.
Right. So every Friday, I open my Spotify and I go to New Metal Friday, right? Just to see if anybody puts something new out that maybe I missed on social media. And it is filled with bands that I have never heard of before. And there's usually 30 or 40 brand new songs. And I'm not trying to sound like, I'm the old guy. I don't know all the new music because I really try to keep on top of it. It's just bands upon bands upon bands. No wonder we get lost in the shuffle.
Listen, when albums released, say, in the 70s and 80s, they were coming from Tier 1 labels, Tier 2 labels, and then your Tier 3 and 4 were like imports.
Yeah.
Now, things are coming from Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4, independents, you and me, the guy at the Wawa, the guy that pumps your gas in Jersey, the bus boy that was at the diner last night, the whole idea.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Like, and there's so many artists that you can't keep up, and everybody gets lost in the shuffle. Everybody.
Is it turning the key for people to make sales, whether it's merch, coming to a show? The truth of the matter is no. And I'll tell you why. I sent you a video just earlier this week. A band booked a 10-day tour. Most of the shows of the 10-day tour were 200 capacity, maybe more. They were only selling a handful from each show, pre-sales. So the manager bought the rest of the tickets and then seat filled, gave them away, paid some people, so on and so forth. It sold out, wound up selling out, of course. He spent, I don't know, it was like $42,000, $44,000.
Yeah, something like that.
At the end of that 10-day tour, they were picked up by a major band to do a much larger tour. So, did it pay off? I guess it did, because the manager will get his money first, then his cut. Was the band privy to that? I don't know. Today, maybe they are. Years ago, I'm not too sure. It all depends. Right. But the gamble of putting the money out yourself and faking it all paid off. First of all, if he just gave tickets away, I don't know how he did it, because I've tried to give tickets away to major events, and I can't do it. I've tried to give them away and throw in products. Can't do it. So I'm assuming that part of that $44,000 was throwing everybody an extra $25. I'm not getting that far. But you see, it's all fake. So if streaming was doing it for all these other bands, then I'd say yes. But it's really not. It's really not. And the fact that you have to get at least 1,000 streams per song each year to get paid, it's not working. It's not working for the average person. You'd have a better shot at just uploading your stuff to your own site and doing downloads there, whether they're free, whether they're inexpensive, whatever. At least you know you will get not 100% of the money, because you have to pay whatever paying service, right? You'll have to pay your percentage, but most of it you'll get. So if your song is 99 cents, you probably get 64 cents afterwards. At least you're getting 64 cents, not a lot less than.
Right.
And then the thing is if you're doing your own promotion anyway to get people to go to Spotify, you do the same promotion, you get people to go to your website.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
This is where I'm going, and I've talked about it all season. Once my contracts are done, this is where I'm going to go. Is it going to limit my exposure? Yep, absolutely. I'll have to funnel people in. But all the effort that I'm doing now to funnel them to Spotify or to some other platform will just be go here. www.mysite.com. Simple as that.
Yeah. That's why I'm a big supporter of Bandcamp. I mean, I just am. I say it just about every show, but that's why, because those sites are run by the bands. Again, you could get everything, just like going to a band's website. Same idea. It's just more about the artist than the streaming services are.
Absolutely. Listen, if this Living Wage Act for musicians on the digital stream thing actually does go through, that's a positive. However, like we talked about in the other episode, Spotify and all these other places, they'll do their checks and balances, and they'll flip it somehow where it winds up costing more for everybody else. We're going to pay you, but it's going to cost you this to get paid.
Of course.
That kind of thing. You know what I mean? Hey, you won the sweepstakes. Just send us $240 in Home Depot cards, and we'll send you the check. Listen, if it works for you, fantastic. Keep it up.
Yeah.
Statistics are showing, though, that even major bands complain about it. It's not making them anything. It's a small percentage. I don't even know if it's 10% now. It's less than that of the people that are really making such a living on it. And at the same time, all those people that don't make 1,000 streams, your money then goes to that top level percentage that does get the streams and then some. I guess it's a case-by-case basis. Like the one guy said that we talked about on the other show, the CEO of Disc Makers, he said, if you don't do it, it's career suicide. Use it as a forum to get people back to your website. Well, if you can cut out that middleman and you put it on your own website, well, what's the difference? Most of us are paying some level of distribution. You have to. It's another service that you're paying for. So then pay for a hosting service on your website so that you can do e-commerce and downloads. I used to do a lot of downloads. Once I got involved with labels, I eliminated all that because they had such an easier stream. And part of the agreement is they take care of that end. Totally get it. But this may be how we need to go back to give ourselves a more controlled audience. It may be a smaller audience. We talked about that before, but we won't get lost in the shuffle per se. Because in Spotify, we're lost in the shuffle. In our own website, we're not. We just have to come to terms with there's going to be a lot less people coming to our website at this point. And that's okay. I still push physical media. I'm re-releasing some old albums in CD format only, simply because the profit margin is better and I have product on hand. And I have 100% control of that. I don't have to share it with a label, distribution, anybody else. And it controls what's out there. I control it. And to me, that's most important, having that control of your own music. What do you think, Bud? You got anything else you want to add?
No, man. Nope. I'm good. We've bashed Spotify enough.
Do what works best for you.
By the way, listen to the Cosmick Voice on Spotify.
Yeah, and keep listening to us on Spotify. If you like that episode, check out some of our other episodes at www.thecosmickvoice.com. Step into the Cosmickverse and fill that Spotify void. Thanks so much for listening. This is the Cosmick Voice. If you have a question, a topic idea, or something you want us to address, just contact us through our Facebook page at The Cosmick Voice. You can listen to The Cosmick Voice at Spotify, Breaker, Apple, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, and at thecosmicview.com. Check us out on Facebook at The Cosmick Voice.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for us. If you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode. And for that, Mick and I would like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And we hope you enjoyed this new episode. And if you did, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Also, feel free to let us know what topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes of The Cosmick Voice. And you can get in touch with us through thecosmickvoice.com and, of course, all of the Cosmick Voice social medias. Take care and be safe.
You're listening to The Cosmick Voice. Music, talk, and nothing but business.